Budget 2025 to focus on reducing cost of living. First version of Code of Conduct guidelines will take effect January 2025. Good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. My name is Daryl Baptist and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. We begin tonight's updates from our Prime Minister. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim wants Budget 2025, which will be presented on 18th October in the Dewan Rakyat, to focus on addressing and reducing the cost of living. He emphasised the cost of living remains a pressing concern for the public and it is the government's duty to alleviate this burden.
Gula kita paling murah, minyak kita paling murah, tepung kita paling murah, minyak masak kita murah. Tapi bagi rakyat Malaysia ni masih merasa terbeban. Dia tak banding dengan Thailand harga, dia tak banding dengan Singapura, dia tak banding dengan Indonesia. Jadi sebab itu saya katakan kita dalam belanjawan ini, selain daripada isu-isu yang kita bicarakan, hal ini juga kita harus tangani.
Datuk Seri Anwar highlighted the importance of cross-ministerial efforts led by the Finance Ministry to devise strategies and methods to reduce the cost of living. The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, or KPDN, is actively conducting engagement sessions with various stakeholders to gather input for Budget 2025, with a focus on lowering the cost of living. Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said this follows the directive from Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who has instructed all ministries to hold engagement sessions for the upcoming budget. To date, KPDN has held 2 engagement sessions with the retail sector and consumer non-governmental organisations, or NGOs.
Minggu lepas saya juga telah duduk bersama Kementerian Ekonomi, Kementerian Kewangan, dengan Khazanah Research Institute, dengan Bank Negara untuk melihat bagaimana kita dapat strengthen dan menambah baik aspek penyaluran bantuan dan juga perlindungan sosial kepada masyarakat kita.
Meanwhile, Dato' Armizan, when met today, said KPDN would focus on increasing and creating income for the people. He said before this, the ministry prioritises controlling the prices of goods and services, but it is equally important to explore ways to increase disposable income for the people. The Malaysian economy is on the right track despite facing the risk of a recession in the United States. Finance Minister 2, Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan, said the projection by the Department of Statistics Malaysia that the country's economy would grow by 5% in the first half of 2024 is at the highest level compared to the Finance Ministry's expectation of 4% to 5%.
Kerana itulah kita rasa bukan saja kerana US nak memotong interest rate-nya, tapi kerana usaha-usaha polisi-polisi yang bagus yang dikeluarkan oleh kerajaan, confidence level dah naik kepada Malaysia. Jadi kerana itulah kita nampak perkembangan baik pada ringgit.
Met today, he also described the fall of the global stock markets yesterday as temporary, with Bursa Malaysia's performance staging a recovery today.
And it is across the world, kerana ada beberapa event yang berlaku di mana kita nampak unjuran daripada US yang nampak dia punya employment rate unemployment dah tinggi sikit, dia punya confidence level dah turun. Jadi ekspektasinya juga US akan memotong dia punya interest rate lah. Kita juga nampak kadang-kadang ada trading positions yang orang ambil dan dia resettle trading position, jadi market turun kerana ada resettlement yang berlaku. Tapi ini short term.
The first version of the Code of Conduct guidelines for social media platforms will come into effect on 1st January next year. Therefore, Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil, when met today, said an engagement session will be held soon with all social media platform stakeholders to formulate the Code of Conduct guidelines, refining the ethical requirements and responsibilities that must be followed by internet messaging and social media service providers.
Mereka ada beberapa pandangan yang ingin mereka sampaikan. Itu kita sudah maklumkan bahawa akan ada satu proses libat urus dengan semua pemegang taruh supaya dapatan ini dapat diambil kira dan kita dapat rangka garis panduan tata laku, guidelines for code of conduct, yang mana sangat jelas bagi pihak platform sekiranya mereka berkelakuan sedemikian dan berlaku pelanggaran.
Earlier, Fahmi said if found guilty, service providers can be fined not exceeding 500,000 ringgit or imprisoned for a period of 5 years or both. Asked on when the guidelines will be fully ready, Fahmi said the process is expected to take time to be completed. In light of the recent kidnapping that happened in Johor, some shocking news has emerged. Police are investigating the motive behind the kidnapping of a 6-year-old girl, including the possibility that the male suspect who has been rearrested is a pedophile. Johor Police Chief M. Kumar said that the investigation followed the discovery of various sex toys, adult pornography and child pornographic materials at the suspect's home in Kulai.
Salah satu section yang kita siasat adalah 365 kalau rakan media perasaan, iaitu abduction, kan, larikan orang, sebab tiada sebarang tebusan diminta. Nombor 2, tangkapan semula dibuat kerana hasil soal siasat kita telah menjumpai beberapa peralatan sex toys yang mewajarkan siasatan bawah Section 10 diteruskan.
Briefing reporters today, Kumar said that the suspect is also believed to have acted alone in the kidnapping of the child. When asked if the child would undergo further health checks, he said there was no need to do so, as previous medical examinations have confirmed that the victim did not suffer any injuries. Police apprehended the suspect at a budget hotel in Batang Kali, Selangor, on the 23rd of July and rescued the child who went missing in the Eco Galleria area of Iskandar Putri 3 days earlier. Coming up next, domestic economy and measures key to ringgit's strength. For those of you who may be finding that properties are getting harder and harder to purchase, here's a little bit of good news. The Federal Territories Department and the Kuala Lumpur City Hall, or DBKL, have been instructed to incorporate Madani housing blocks in every new residential project. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said this requirement is crucial for the approval of new housing developments, ensuring opportunities for low-income groups to become homeowners.
Kerana tumpu bukan saja pembangunan perumahan biasa, tetapi perumahan madani untuk menyantuni kepentingan bukan saja penjawat awam, tapi kelompok B40, M40 yang lebih susah. Orang-orang kaya dibuatlah rumah banyak mana pun, berapa harga puluh juta pun dia buatlah, saya tak peduli. Tetapi rakyat yang lain harus dibantu. Itu sebabnya mengapa jentera kerajaan harus dikerahkan supaya menyelesaikan masalah perumahan yang sangat rumit. Saudara, kita warisi kedudukan, dia tengok sedarai, berapa? 60 ribu orang queue nak dapat rumah bandaraya.
Datuk Seri Anwar made these remarks during the launch of the Malaysia Madani Civil Servants Housing Program in Bandar Sri Permaisuri today. He said the requirement reflects the government's firmness, considering past housing projects did not emphasize the importance of affordable housing for the people. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister expressed his desire for the benefits of the improved ringgit performance to be channeled directly into projects that can positively impact the people. More good news, ladies and gentlemen, as your experiences with civil servants are about to get that much better, as all civil servants are urged to provide far better service to the people in line with the salary adjustment to be announced by the government. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the method and details of the salary adjustment will be announced, with some details to be revealed this month.
Apa dia skim ni untuk pejabat awam? Iaitu kenaikan gaji paling tinggi dalam sejarah negara sejak merdeka. Sebabnya dua. Pertama, negara membangun. Tetapi selama 12 tahun tidak ada kajian menyeluruh kenaikan gaji. 12 tahun. Kedua, kerana mengiktiraf peranan mereka selama ini.
The mechanism for adjusting civil servants' salaries will be announced by Datuk Seri Anwar during the 19th Majlis Amanat Perdana Perkhidmatan Awam, or MAPA, on 16th August at the Putrajaya International Convention Centre. Met today, the Prime Minister also said that civil servants need to work together with the government in developing the country. And now some updates on our currency. The strength of the domestic economy and the measures taken by the Finance Ministry and its agencies play a crucial role in efforts to bolster the ringgit. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim noted that the domestic position and the current strength of the ringgit are highly encouraging despite a concerning global geopolitical situation. Speaking at today's Finance Ministry's monthly assembly, Datuk Seri Anwar added that the government's decision to implement targeted diesel subsidies, despite being unpopular, has improved investor confidence in choosing Malaysia as their preferred destination. He also described the rejection of subsidy targeting as an unwise move, noting that all previous prime ministers had agreed to halt the leakage.
Maknanya kalau saudara nak melabur, sudah tahu bahawa dasar itu bertanggungjawab. Maknanya kita ada ketirisan. Dan bila ada Fiscal Responsibility Act, penyasaran subsidi, ayam, tarif lettering, itu menyebabkan orang tahu ini is a responsible government, prepared to undertake some unpopular reforms to save the economy of the country.
At the same event, the Prime Minister launched the countdown to the 2025 ASEAN Financial Track meeting. The Finance Ministry, as the leader of the ASEAN Financial Track, will chair 4 related meetings. Next year, Malaysia will once again chair ASEAN, following its previous chairmanships in 2005 and 2015. Adding on to that, the strengthening of the ringgit reflects the fundamentals of the country's economy and policies. Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz noted that despite tough policy implementation decisions, confidence has grown among both foreign and local investors.
Look at the capital markets, look at even our stock market, etc. It's showing that investors are confident about the prospect for Malaysia. If you look at the first quarter GDP growth and then now the second quarter advanced estimate, about 5.8% growth in terms of GDP. All this are the basis for ringgit strengthening.
Met today, he however acknowledged that the ringgit's gains are partially due to a weakening US dollar, following a weak employment report and the prospect of US rate cuts. Economists noted that the ringgit has made impressive gains this year, appreciating by 4.1% against the US dollar. On another note, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said the government will announce guidelines for data centre power usage effectiveness or PUE and water usage effectiveness WUE by the third quarter of the year to boost investments. The guidelines would ensure data centres built in Malaysia meet the minimum sustainability requirements to achieve net zero emissions by 2050.
Consume a lot of power and water. We want to make sure that the data centers that are built here meet the minimum requirements that are already set by the global institutions. So that's why CRIM and Jabatan Standard are in the midst of finalizing it, and we'll be announcing it by third quarter this year.
He said MITI will work closely with the Digital Ministry and Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation to incorporate the improvements into the data centre ecosystem. The minister was met after the groundbreaking ceremony for Vantage Data Centre's second campus in Cyberjaya. Meanwhile, Digital Minister Gobind Singh Dio, who was also present at the groundbreaking ceremony, said the guidelines being developed will ensure that the country has a sufficient and sustainable supply of both power and water resources for the next 5 to 10 years to attract more investments.
We need to push ahead. We need to make sure that we can build Malaysia as the hub for data centres in this region, particularly moving towards ASEAN 2025. So that we are ready to project Malaysia as a showcase, a country which has policies that are very, very clear, attractive not just to data centres but all investments that are that go in that ecosystem as well.
All construction companies are reminded not to be selective but rather to prioritise local skilled labour when hiring workers in the sector. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the government will incur long-term losses if the construction sector continues to rely on foreign workers.
Ya, kos mungkin kurang kalau pekerja asing diambil dari jangka pendek. Tetapi dari segi jangka panjang, kos yang ditanggung oleh negara dan kos pada GDP yang akan dibuat, ianya akan merugikan negara. Maka dalam keadaan yang begitulah, pada hemat saya, apa yang dilakukan oleh ABM dan CIDB Technologies adalah merupakan langkah-langkah proaktif yang harus mendapat dukungan daripada pihak kerajaan.
Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid said the government also wants the construction sector in the country to be fully driven by local skilled labour.
Sebagai pengurusi TVET, saya amat prihatin terhadap permasalahan yang dihadapi. Tahun ini saja 60,000 jurutera diperlukan. Namun kita tidak dapat memenuhi permintaannya. Apatah lagi di kalangan pekerja-pekerja berkemahiran, ianya berlaku jurang yang amat tinggi.
He urged all local TVET institutions that offer construction-related programs to refer to CIDB to ensure that the skill certificates issued by the institutions go through the equivalency and accreditation process by CIDB. The Deputy Premier said this at the 2024 graduation ceremony of the Malaysian Construction Academy, or ABM, and CIDB Technologies. At the event, 150 graduates received the Construction Skills Competency Certificate and 15 outstanding graduates were recognised from various skilled trades, including chargeman, crane operation, gas pipe fitter, plumbing welding and scaffolding. Here's some additional good news for our economy as FGV Holdings Berhad reaffirms its commitment to foster local economic growth with the launch of FGV Vendor Development Program, also known as VDP, to empower 300 local vendors. The program aims to elevate vendors' capabilities and competitiveness, playing a crucial role in the industry's growth. The VDP initiative streamlines vendor standards across its 5 business divisions nationwide, among others, plantation, consumer products and integrated farming. As part of the program, partners are being offered structured training modules designed to equip vendors with essential skills and knowledge. The participants will undergo a 6-month module and skills training, followed by a 3-month professional development program and elective training. The services that will be rendered by VDP partners range from palm oil harvesting to infrastructure construction, electrical works, plumbing works, road maintenance, as well as various supply chain services. Still ahead, death toll rises to 14, 300,000 livestock dead in South Korea. Welcome back. Sad news, I'm afraid, as 2 women in their 70s have died due to extreme heat, raising the death toll from this year's heatwave to 14 in South Korea, according to the Interior Ministry on Tuesday. On Sunday, a 71-year-old woman was found unconscious in her home in Seoul and later died from a heat-related illness. The ministry said another 78-year-old woman died the same day while working on a farm in Go-hyung, 328 kilometers south of Seoul. The addition of these 2 deaths brought this year's heatwave death toll to 14 as of Sunday, with the number of patients suffering from heat-related illnesses totaling 1,690. From 11th June until Monday, 303,000 livestock died due to extreme heat, including 277,000 poultry. On Tuesday, most parts of the country were under heatwave warnings. The weather agency has forecast that the heatwave may persist until at least 15th August. Do look after yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're in the heat, and always remember to stay hydrated. We now move to Bangladesh, where leaders of student protests that erupted in Bangladesh said on Tuesday that the protesters found any military or military-backed government unacceptable for the country, adding that only the government approved by the student movement would be formed. Protests and demonstrations erupted in Dhaka and across the country following the announcement of a multi-day non-cooperation action with the authorities launched on Sunday by the anti-discrimination student movement. The situation escalated into riots as clashes broke out between anti-government students, police and government supporters. Nahid Islam, a coordinator of the anti-discrimination student movement until a new government is formed, said the students should remain on the streets to safeguard their uprising. On Monday, Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her sister left the official residence in the capital of Dhaka for a safer place. News outlets reported that thousands of protesters had stormed the palace of Hasina, who had left Bangladesh. The Bangladeshi president held a meeting on Monday with representatives of political parties, civil associations, and commanders of the 3 branches of the armed forces, where it was decided to dissolve the parliament in order to form an interim government as soon as possible. Coming up in sports, Hannah, confident pocket rocket man, can give his best in Paris. Stay with us.
Meraihkan semasa sukan terulung dunia. 6 saluran khas Olimpik RTM Klik di pautan Paris 2024.rtm.gov.my sepanjang 27 Julai hingga 12 Ogos, walau di mana sahaja. Dengan lebih 12 jam siaran setiap hari, Paris 2024.rtm.gov.my, aksi sukan terbesar dunia. Segalanya tersedia di sini. Bersama RTM, penyiar rasmi.
Hello again. Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh is confident that national track cyclist Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni Awang can produce his best at the 2024 Paris Olympics. That's because the Malaysian contingent's hopes of bagging the country's first Olympic gold medal now hinges on the track cyclists after the national shuttlers ended their campaigns with 2 bronzes. Hannah, during a gathering with Malaysian media personnel covering the Paris Olympics, said she has never been worried about the dedication and maturity shown by Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni, known as the Pocket Rocket Man.
Saya tidak pernah risau mengenai Datuk Azizul kerana kesungguhan beliau, kematangan beliau, dan saya percaya dengan adanya fasiliti yang Road to Go telah bagi kepada atlet kita, saya percaya Datuk Azizul boleh lakukan versi terbaik beliau lah. Yeah, his best version dekat Paris.
On Wednesday, Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni, the Tokyo 2020 men's Kirin silver medalist, and Muhammad Shah Firdaus Sarom will begin their Paris Olympic campaign in the sprint event, while Nurul Izzah Izzati Muhammad Asri will make her Olympic debut in women's Kirin. On the topic of gold medals, shortly after claiming his second consecutive Olympic badminton gold in Paris, Victor Axelsen was quick to downplay any comparisons to his idol Lin Dan, widely regarded as the greatest of all time, or as the kids these days say, the GOAT. Despite emulating the Chinese legend by becoming only the second man to win 2 Olympic titles in men's singles, Axelsen insisted he does not yet consider himself on par with Lin Dan. Axelsen outclassed Thailand's Kunlavut Vititsan 21-11, 21-11 in the final.